Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be working on the Traxxas UDR. So during this process I learned a lot about taking care of my Traxxas UDR. It definitely is one of the more complex trucks out there, and it's 100% the most complex truck that I own. Getting the shell off is kind of a pain in the butt. I did tape to reinforce some of the areas, but that does make it harder to actually get it back in more than it does taking it off, just because it can misalign some of those holes and you really have to finagle it to get it to line up properly. I was wanting to do as much work to this as possible in one go, that way I didn't have to worry about this body going on and off too many times, since it is frustrating. However, really I'm still experimenting and learning about how to properly take care of my RC cars, and the Traxxas UDR is a really big project. So I started by just sucking off as much of the loose dirt and leaves and grass as I possibly could. We do have a nice portable vacuum here. I will say I have more that I want to do to this truck now that I have researched things, looked stuff up, and actually tried to perform maintenance on it. So I have a little bit of a better perspective now on what needs to be done. However, after this video I did end up putting the body back on because I wanted to take it out for a few runs and also listen to how it sounds after I fixed some problems. So during this video that you're seeing, there's going to be two main things that I wanted to focus on. The first one being I had a leaky shock, and I wanted to fix that and clean it up quite a bit, because since it's leaking, more dirt and grime and grass is going to stick to that shock because there's sticky oil coming out of it. So I really want to clean that up and try to refill that and fix it. I honestly did not know how to put the shock bladder back in properly, so I am going to have to redo that again, and I'm not sure if it's because the rear ones were uneven or if it's just got dirty naturally, but I feel like some of my other shocks may be leaking now as well, which could just be they're getting worn as well. So I'm going to end up taking those apart, trying to rebuild them and refill them as best I can. Hopefully I have enough oil to do them all, because I'd really like to take care of all of them at once and try to see if I can get away with just maintenance on them instead of getting new shocks or new pieces, because it really does add up, especially when you got 8 shocks on the UDR. I know 4 of them are dampers and 4 of them are the actual shocks there, but it still adds up quite a bit. So to get into this UDR, there's a lot to do. You have to take off the arms typically, especially if you want to take off the shocks, and then it's all tied in to the axles and differentials and all that stuff. The front end appears to be a much bigger task to get into than the rear or the middle, so I'm really hoping I don't need to clean the front diff. Of course I do need to get out those front shocks, so when I do that maintenance I may just take it all apart just to do it, get it over with all at once, depending on how much I need to take off. So we talked a little bit about the shocks and the fact that I had a leaky one. I needed some help getting that bladder back in. I didn't really know about it. But the other main thing is this rear axle. So I heard some grinding and kind of just some, maybe not even grinding, but whining noises coming from the rear end. And that's what actually triggered me to go and take care of this and check it out. So when I took out the axle there, there was quite a bit of sand on it from the baseball fields, so I put it back in at one point, and then this is when I actually came in to do the maintenance. So here I'm showing a shock, so those are really dirty, as you can see. Gotta clean those up. But sticking with that rear axle, so that rear axle actually got a ton of dirt in it, a ton of sand. The gear still looked fine, but it was very, very dirty. and so you'll be able to see me taking that off, taking it apart, and then we'll get a quick glimpse into what it actually looked like inside. The lighting's not the best, so hopefully you'll be able to check it out and really see what was in there. That is very important though, because it's got I believe a planetary gear. It's got just some axle gearing, so those rear wheels will actually spin, you know, connecting to the rear drive shaft and then into that center diff. So I didn't want anything wearing out on that, and I was very concerned that those gears were going to start going if I didn't clean it. I've seen people use marine grease or udder butter into the rear axle to try to keep dirt out. I would like anybody's opinion on that, because I put grease back into that rear axle so that the gears would slide together smoothly and properly, and I even probably put in a little too much, to be honest, because some did come out when I was screwing in screws, and then also it was harder to press together those gears. However, I think they're okay now, because I have run it a few times, and the gears don't make a bad noise, but it still sounds like I need to fix the shocks. In my opinion, that's what the noise is. This is me putting it back on, so I may have missed showing the dirt, which I thought I had those clips in here. But anyways, so it was very dirty. There's a ton of sand, even some grass. There was kind of like a sludgy, mossy looking green around those gears in the grease, so it was definitely not optimal running conditions for this truck. But I got it all taken care of, got that rear axle cleaned out. What I did was I ran it through hot water with some soap to get rid of the grease, sprayed it with some WD-40 because it was still greasy and sticky. That took that off, and then to get the WD-40 off before it soaked in, I did water and soap again. And then after that, I dunked everything in some, I believe it's isopropyl alcohol, to dry off the water and make sure that nothing would be exposed to dampness, wetness, anything that would end up ruining gears or components. So that's kind of the process I think you have to go with, especially when using the grease, because hot water and all that doesn't even take off the grease completely. You almost have to use WD-40, and then you know, you don't necessarily want the WD-40 sitting in there either, because that's not great for it. So it was definitely interesting trying to clean it, because I know what you're not supposed to do, and you're not supposed to leave it wet. You're not supposed to leave it with WD-40 in it, especially not around those differentials and gears and all that. So I had to kind of learn as I went and saw what took off what, and so it kind of went like WD-40, hot water, soap, and then isopropyl alcohol. As you can see, there's still some, you know, dirt stuck in hard to get places. I'm not terribly concerned about all of it. It's going to get ran. It's going to over time build stuff up, and it's going to be hard to get. There might be some day where I go through and I really thoroughly clean everything at once so it looks brand new, but the chances are just not extremely high of doing that, because it's just going to keep getting dirty, and I don't mind maintenance on the car, especially when it doesn't cost me, you know, extra money. But the fun part is definitely running those cars. But to run them, you gotta keep them clean. So I hope you learned something watching this video.